Good afternoon, students. How are you? This is a class of this is a class for a concept of a export, import, and a documentation. I think all of you are aware with the concept of a EXIM documentation, export, import documentation. This particular topic is a very important in terms of a EXIM and in terms of a gfmi. Whenever you have discussed about of a global financial market and instruments, then you follow the concept of export import documentation. Or whenever you have studies the concept of EXIM financing and documentation, then you follow export import documentation. So I think the concept of export import documentation is a very important in terms of international business. Suppose that if all of you wants to do a business across the nation, if you all of you want to do trading across the nation, across the national boundary, in terms of an international form, then you follow the concept of a international follow the concept of a international guidelines. Because of the whenever you try to do a business across the boundary, then a lot of rules and regulations, a lot of guidelines is to be prepared by the governments of your country and governments of another country in which you want to do a business. So whenever you try to start a business, first think about of a export import documentation, because of without documentation you cannot do any kind of a business, you cannot do any kind of a trade across the nation. So for developing a trading environment across the nation, you follow the guidelines of a government. So for this, you think about export import documentation. So today I will deliver the information about of export import documentation, and this information is a very important information. So please watch this particular video very carefully and listen carefully, and take the information, accept the information which is given by me. So first thing is, what is export? So export means sales of goods from one country to another against payment in foreign currency in a legal way. This is a concept of export. Okay, so I think you understand the concept of export means sale of goods from one country to another against payment in foreign currency in a legal way. It is a concept of export. Then the question is, what is the meaning of export contract? So it should mention parties' address and identities. Nature of contract means sales of goods, services, agency and distributionship, and date of agreement. It should be mentioned on export contract, and the contract should state the contract should state product's name, size in which it is supplied, standards, quantity, total value, inspections, packing, packaging, labeling, marking, terms of delivery, duty, period of delivery, terms of payment, license and permit, discount and commission, and insurance. So in the contract, these particular things is to be mentioned. Then first thing is this, why do we need documentation? This is an important question in terms of international trading, international business. So why do we need documentation? Think about it if you can. Okay, then I will deliver the information about of why do we need documentation. Because of buyer and sellers are separated by long distance, formal contract is necessary, protection of interest of both the parties, the operational constraint, claim of export assistance and incentives provided by the government. For these kinds of information, the documentation is necessary. And then we have discussed about of documentation categories. So what do you think about of a documentation categories? So generally, trade documents may be broadly categorized into three heads. Trade documents may be broadly categorized into three heads. The first one is a commercial document. Second one is a legal or regulatory documents. And third one is a incentive and assistance claim documents. So generally, we can classify the documents into the basic three sections. The first one is a commercial document, second one is a legal document, and third one is a incentive and assistance claim documents. So these are the three categories of documents. So I will try to define these documents. So the first one is a commercial documents. So the meaning of a commercial documents is possession of docs imply ownership of goods. This is a concept of a commercial documents. Possession of docs imply ownership of goods, and docs represents goods shipped by exporter. These docs entitle the importer that indicates goods at destination and used to compensation by insurance in the event of damage or loss. So I think you completely understand the concept of a commercial documents. Means, I again repeat, possession of docs imply ownership of goods, and docs represents goods shipped by exporter. And these these docs entitle the importer, which indicates goods at destination and used to compensation by insurance in the event of damage or loss. So I think you clearly understand the concept of commercial documents. And the commercial documents include the following points: commercial invoice, packing list, insurance certificate, bill of exchange, shipping advice, certificate of origin. Okay, insurance certificate, bill of exchange, shipping advice, certificate of origin, inspection certificate, transportation document. Or in the transportation document, the following points is mandatory: bill of lading, airway bill, combined transport document. Okay, so I think you know the concept of commercial documents. So these are the important points which is always remembered by you for the commercial documents. Then Another particular document is a legal documents. So the legal documents as per requirement of government of India is export license if necessary. AR4, AR5 forms, pre-shipment inspection certificate, export declaration form, GRPP, VBP, COD, Softex form, shipping bill on behalf of customs, and the documents as per requirements of import country is custom invoice and GSP certificate of origin. Then the third category is incentive and assistance claim docs. So the first one is application form, second one is a shipping bill duly authenticated by customs. Next is commercial invoice attested by bank. Next is statement of exports certified by the negotiating bank, and a registration cum membership form of concerned export promotion council. Clear? So this is a third category of documentation. So these three documents are very important. These three categories are very important for a export import. Then we have discussed about of commercial invoice. So I think you understand the concept of export contract. Means in the contract the points is to be mentioned. The first one is the parties, nature of product and date of agreement. And why do we need a documentation? Then the documentation is also basically categorized into the three categories, which is defined by me also, like as commercial document, legal document, and incentive and assistance claim document. Okay, and the remaining information about of export import documentation is to be included in the next video by me. So thank you very much.